So in this video I'm just going to be talking over the shots that I've used for my music video and justifying basically why that I've used them. So in the opening of my music video, as you can see below, that I have included opening shots of the actress packing her bags and leaving the house. I think that this is a very important thing to have at the start of my music video because I wanted it to be a story narrative and I didn't think it would make sense to viewers, especially having my target audience so young. I didn't think it would make sense to people who are that young of how she got there, why she's there, what are the reasons for her going there, and I thought it would be much more easier for people to sort of understand this is a journey if you really do set a certain and obvious beginning. So I chose to do this on quite a sunny day because although she's at home, this is still a good life, you know. I wanted her and to show life as bright, as happy. So even though she's trying to escape what she's coming from, I didn't want it to be sort of dull and gloomy and just basically say, well, normal life is boring, so you should always go on holiday, because that's not the message I wanted to send out. So coming up soon you'll see the next shot of her after she closes the car door, which is of the motorway and her driving away. And again, this is a really important shot for me because I really do like the sunrise there. It's showing that it's almost like a new day, and then also it's keeping up with that idea of brightness and happiness. And I didn't want to keep sort of too many shots of grey skies in there because it doesn't really have positive connotations. So here you have a tilt down from the sky to the young girl. This is really important for me to include because again, I didn't want to include the whole process of her getting out of the car, getting into a hotel, and then going out. I wanted it to sort of be like, well, she's travelled there now, and this is where she is. So I needed something to sort of establish that this is a new area, a new environment, and a new mood. So sort of as you can see, her clothes change, and she's got her hair up in a different way. So it's just showing that it's now more of a summery time because of her colours that she's wearing. She's now wearing blues. So yeah, I'm just trying to show that it's a different mindset, but they're both still coming from good places originally. So over here you've got her smiling. Smiling obviously was a really big thing for me to use. I needed her smiling a lot. I needed to make it look happy because I wanted my target audience to think life is happy. I used these match on action shots coming up next of which was basically a panning shot of Mint Beach and the hill that we stood on and the sea, and then matching it with her stood on another part of another hill in the same area, and I panned onto that. The reason that I chose to do this was I was again showing her travelling without showing her literally walking from part to part and sort of having to prolong my music video because of this. So this is the only part of the music video that had grey skies. I think what replaces that mainly is the pink jacket, and again I'm using this sort of idea of having a pink colour scheme, which I really did try and push into my music video. And I think I got a lot of feedback saying, well, if you're trying to sort of go away from gender stereotypes and trying to show women as powerful, then why are you using pink? And I don't think that colours should really represent a gender. I know it does at the moment, but I was just using it personally because I thought it's a really nice and bright colour, and I don't want her always in yellow because I think that's just a bit too obvious. So I was just trying to sort of go with what people like, and especially considering my target audience is mainly for girls, and yes, that is using stereotypes, but it is just a nice bright colour, and I didn't feel the need to always use yellow. So these are one of the many over the shoulder shots that I've chosen to use, and I really liked using these because I wanted sort of to make the audience see the world from her perspective without doing a point of view shot, because I didn't want it to sort of become almost handheld Blair Witch Project sort of style. I wanted it to seem like we're following her journey, but we're also seeing the world how she sees it. And again, we have more smiling shots, more shots of her running, so energetic, but then followed up by food. I think showing these things are showing what people like, because a lot of people are happy when they're energetic and healthy. It also says having fun eating food. So she's now getting on a boat and going over to Caldy Island, which is centred in Wales. This is a really nice island. Another connotation behind this, which no one is going to know obviously but me, is that it's actually quite a religious island. So I also chose to include that in my video because I thought different things make different people happy, commitments, religion. So I talked about food and exercise. It's just showing that different people have different kinds of lives, and I think if I were to do it again, I would include sort of more churches, but I think I would have to really think about what religion I was going to reflect, because I didn't want it to make it seem like I was cornering off to only a very small section of target audience, because, you know, although I'm going for teenage girls from the age of 16 down to the age of 6, not all of them are gonna be religious, so I think it's quite a hard thing to sort of reflect in a music video without it only centering on that group of people. So here we have, she's now gone to the fun fair. This is basically because there isn't a child that doesn't love the fun fair. It's a really nice place. Again, you can see the yellows and the blue sky in these shots. She's now wearing this pink jacket. She was wearing it just before in Caldy Island as well, so I'm really trying to incorporate the pink into this. That also will be reflected in my digipack and in my poster promoting my digipack. These match on action shots I actually am quite proud of. I really did like her on slides. I think that's one of the most simple ways to having fun. I mean, you don't always have slides in fun fairs, but you definitely do have them down the local park, and I don't think there's any person in the UK who hasn't been down a slide, so I was just trying to sort of incorporate things that are fun in general life and say that the world is fun. It's not dark as sort of we see it made in the media. It's not like this horrible place that women are just sexualized and we have no equality. There are things in life that make life worth living, and I know a slide is a very big sort of almost exaggeration of that, but it's just sort of trying to show people that there are little elements that are in everyday life and you don't actually have to leave to go on these things. So again, we're still in the fun fair. She's going on this turning tube, and another match on action of her on the slide. I found it really important to incorporate sort of fair rides, because I think people think of fun fairs and they think of the people who my target audience are. So I think being between the ages of 6 to 16, I think fun fairs mainly do go for those sort of people. So again, it's sort of expanding it a bit more outside of just having girls between the age of 6 to 16, because guys love fun fairs too. There isn't sort of any gender stereotype on having fun, really. I found that quite hard because I did feel that using an actress in my music video instead of an actor was going to really narrow down my target audience, because having a journey from the perspective of a female isn't always going to attract males to watch it and feel that they're being represented. So I think sort of including things that everyone would just find fun anyway really tries to open up that sort of target audience and just reach as many people as I possibly can. So here we have some more of rides. I do like these sped up sort of shots because I wanted to include as much as I possibly can. And here we have, which is a really significant moment, when the time gets turned backwards. It was really hard for me to choose an effect that showed this. I didn't really know how to demonstrate time going backwards, so I think it was put to me by a couple of people that had watched my other drafts that thought that she should be lying down, so it gives the idea of maybe this is a dream, maybe she's reliving it that she's already been, and she's reliving what she was experiencing maybe a couple months before. I just wanted that idea of, is she there, isn't she, but also the idea of, I'm going to turn back time now and I'm going to experience what I loved the most about my holiday. Now, this is a really problematic thing to have as a music video concept, the idea of turning back time, because I'm fully aware that this could lose a lot of marks, because it can seem like I'm putting a music video together and then only doing half of it and then playing the rest of it backwards again, and then it only seems like I've really done half a music video, and this really isn't the case. It was commented to me by my media teacher, by a lot of people who actually watched the first couple of drafts, and they felt that it was basically a cop-out. So I really tried to not make it seem like this. So in the first half you've seen some shots of her doing things, and I really tried to minimise repeating those shots again, going backwards. You will see some of the slide shots going backwards, but when actually you go back to previous locations that I've used in the music video before, it's actually different shots that I'm putting backwards now. So I think that was really important to do different shots, just to show that I'm not using it as an easy way to do a music video. It actually is something I really put a lot of thought into. And at the same time, I'm still keeping my concept of turning back time and reliving the moments that she's seen and she loves the most, but you actually haven't seen yet. So that's something I'm quite proud of. So now we're seeing things going back, and another thing that was really hard for me was deciding what shots to put backwards, because I think it's not very obvious to a lot of people when something's being played backwards, and it has to be something quite significant to be happening in the shot for you actually to realise, oh, it's going backwards. So you have to be like turning or running towards the camera for when it plays back for actually to be noticeable, because some movements that I found in a lot of the shots just weren't clear at all. So that really helped me with the sort of picking what shots to include in the rewind and what shots not to. So really I only have about 20 shots out of 93 in this whole video that are actually repeated on itself, and the rest is completely new content. So walking backwards was a massive thing for me. That was one of the most obvious things that you can sort of see. I also found that picking things like the ice cream, her on top of the cliff on Mint Beach, I found that was really sort of a major thing that I had to include, because I wanted the idea of exploring, which is a massive thing for kids, to be incorporated in this music video. So I don't think I could have ever edited that part out. And so next we're having some new shots. This is her at Mint Beach. You have seen her at Mint Beach before in similar shots, but these ones are actually new ones. She's laughing now directly to the camera, so she's breaking that fourth wall, but also keeping it intact. So it's not completely obvious that she's directly talking to the audience or anything like that. She's just having sort of a laugh and making it seem like this isn't a formal sort of video. This is something made to make people smile, to make people laugh. It isn't something that needs to look sort of completely black and white. So here's another shot that's coming up. She's flicking her hair, but it's then turned into reverse. So it's like she's bringing her hair back round, and that's the one that I chose that I've already talked about. She's on top of this cliff. She's looking out to sea, but instead of the shot that was previously used, she's now flicking her hair back. So it's a match on action shot. It starts with her flicking her hair, and then it pans back and shows you the sea and the cliff. And I have used that shot already, but that was another thing I really had to try using a new shot with, because I didn't want it to seem like I was just taking an easy way out. So now she's back in the flower field. She's walking backwards, and I think this is a really significant moment because this is one of my favourite shots, this flower field. I think a lot of the stuff that she was that I originally put in is really obvious and prominent as being in reverse, so I think it was a really nice thing for me to use backwards. Coming up now, you're seeing her. The camera is almost placed within a bush, and she is sitting on the bridge, and you're having that angle of almost of watching her. she doesn't look completely happy. This could be because she doesn't really completely want to go home, but then it's put with a shot afterwards, which can only be described as a panning tilt of her from the other side of the bridge, and she's smiling at the camera again. The one taken from the viewpoint of the grass is a new shot, so again that's me putting some new content into the video while having it sort of in reverse, just to show that I'm definitely not repeating myself to get an easy way out. So this is another shot of the flower field. This is one of my favourite shots, and it's followed by, now in reverse, that tilt that we had at the very start after the car shots, but this time it's now going up to the sky. And this is important to me because I liked it. It's sort of like the ending at the start we had the tilt down from the sky onto her. This time we're having the tilt from her up to the sky, so it's sort of like a significant solid start and end to her journey, and now we're going to experience her travelling back. So again, the same car shot is used, so we're looking at the M27 here, and it's going backwards. I wanted to use the same shot because the other shots that I got when I was travelling actually back, it was really dark and horrible and gloomy, and I just thought that I had to use a sunny shot, so I purposely chose to do this one because it's sort of like, it's not completely bright, but it's not completely gloomy, so it's sort of saying that yeah, she's going home, and that's not exactly, no one likes to go home from holiday, but it's just saying home is one of the best places, really. So here we have her sort of pulling up, she's getting out the car, and he's got quite a few match on action shots of her getting out of the car. So we've got them from the outside, and then we see her with the camera from the inside watching her get out as well. This was also a new content that you haven't seen before, and it was very important for me to get new content, as I've explained before. So I've basically reshot everything from now on you have not seen before. So I think you have seen, yeah, maybe about 20 shots that have been repeated, but this is a conscious decision I've made, and no way is it because I think this is an easy way out, and I am absolutely terrified that someone might think that, because this video has had so much effort put into it, and by no means did I ever take any shortcuts. This was because I think trying to prove that this has not been a shortcut has taken me longer than other people who have just got new content, but I was so stuck on this idea of starting over and remembering good times. It was basically not an idea I could leave behind, so this video is very important to me to sort of demonstrate to you why I have chosen to redo some shots, re-show you some shots, because it is so important to my concept. Yeah, so here's the match on action shots. You've got her now sort of going into the house. She's going to go up to the same room where she started in. There you go, you've got her going up the stairs now. Again, sunny weather, definitely a conscious choice. Right, and this is one of my favourite shots. She goes and she lies down on the bed. This shot really opens up sort of viewpoints to the audience. So maybe she was there the whole time, as you're about to see, because it's about to fade into some fireworks. So the idea is maybe she was lying there the whole time. Maybe she didn't go on the holiday at all, and it was sort of the very well-known concept of it was all just a dream. Or maybe she's reflecting on what's happened. I had a lot of controversy with the next shots of the fireworks, but they're definitely something I want to keep in the video, and I would never change them for anything. So here we have her. She's you can see the over the shoulder shot first of her looking at the fireworks. Definitely an important thing, because I think fireworks are such a closure sort of thing. So we have sort of, it's night time, it's the end of a journey, it's signalling to me the end. So like when we went and actually shot this, the fireworks were the last thing we did. So it's, to me, I think a firework display is very much sort of, okay, we've had it, the grand finale, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, definitely sort of this is the ending, and you're about to get hear some of the actual fireworks coming over across the music video. Again, something that was really either hit or miss with the people in my class. I didn't want to move it. Some people said that they didn't like it being out of focus, some people did. I think I like that controversy. It was very much of a conscious decision for me to have these fireworks. I didn't feel like leaving it, just having an the shoulder shot of a few fireworks was good enough. I needed to have sort of these massive fireworks sort of spraying across the screen. I wanted you as an audience member to hear it, because I think it's a finale moment. I think it's sort of, you know, who doesn't love fireworks apart from small little children? I needed sort of something like that to sort of give it an ending, because I felt it was very depressing. Okay, now she's gone on this massive holiday, it's been so fun, but now she's at home. The end. I felt that was such a downfall, such a depressing ending, such a disappointing ending, and I needed to have something of her reflecting back on what has happened, because otherwise it's just going to be really disappointing to an audience member. The reason that I chose to fade the music out as the actual song is ending, and to have the noise of the fireworks rising, is so that you're hearing what she's hearing. I wanted it to be like you are following her journey, and this is the last thing she heard when she had this great adventure. So I found it really important. A lot of people felt that the fireworks went on for too long, but a lot of people could understand why I chose to use it. I did show this to my little cousins. They are between the ages of 4 and 6, and they loved it, and I think that's what I'm really trying to sort of, and because my target audience is so big almost, which is important to me, and I've definitely justified before, but at the same time I need to be hitting all of those target audiences once, which is quite a difficult thing to do. And it's just because these girls from the ages of 6 to 16 are viewing music videos, and I have looked at that, and it's basically parents are giving their children iPads from the ages that they can basically pick one up. So what they're viewing on music videos right now shouldn't be what they consider to be normal, and I had to make a music video that I would consider normal, but at the same time I had to entertain a 6-year-old but also keep a 16-year-old interested. And that's a really hard thing to do, and I think visually the ending is more suited to a younger audience maybe, but there's some people, a couple of people have told me maybe you need to change it, maybe shorten the fireworks, and I really don't think that's necessary, because it's only about 7 seconds, and that is a really long time to have for a shot. But I think it is the perfect ending, sort of having it fading out and then having Hollywood Records, which is the record label, fading up into the middle of the screen. Again, some people want it in different places, but I just think it's a very nice gentle ending, and I felt that it gave the video a justified ending almost, because I don't think showing them a bit of fireworks and then being that's the end, I think it was far too blunt for what I was going for. I needed to sort of have life is good, life is nice, and sort of I was having a sort of subtle happy music video that's very gentle, very nice, and I don't want to have that massive cut end almost. I don't want it cutting to black, I want it fading, I want it going nice and slowly, and basically that's the reason that I've chosen to use this. So I hope you can appreciate why I've used all of these, and I hope you can understand my reasons now that I've tried to justify them.